Hey everybody, how about that fucking theme song, right?
Yeah, how about that new intro song for Vinyl Bang, huh? Pretty cool. We
Huge
got
thank you and shout out to Mr. Scott Hall.
yes. It only took a little bit of hounding and harassing Mr. Scott Hall to do this for us, but he was pretty excited to do it. Whenever we brought up the idea to him and we approached him and said, "We want you to do an intro song for Vinyl Bang," and he said, "Okay." So shout out to Scott Hull of Pig Destroyer and Agoraphobic Nosebleed
Yeah,
and
huge,
many
huge
other
thank you.
projects.
Huge thank you to Scott because I approached him about this a couple months ago in Baltimore and he seemed interested and then Jeff did the rest of he closed the deal for me a few days later in Mechanicsburg, PA. So thank you, Scott. It was great. We couldn't believe that you actually agreed to do this for us, and it was more than we expected. So thank you very much. This was awesome of you, and huge shout out and appreciation to Scott from Pig Destroyer, Agoraphobic Nosebleed, and all the masterings of the best albums you've ever listened to.
Right. Yeah, probably the for those of you at home who are unaware of Scott Hull is, first off, shame on you. And second off, the album that you just got finished listening to, there's a pretty good chance that Scott Hull mastered that album. So
Yeah,
there you go.
there you go.
There you go.
So enjoy this new episode, and thanks. Shout out to Scott.
Yep. Shout out to Scott and enjoy episode 20, Picture Disc episode.
What's up, everybody? I'm Metal Nick.
I'm Jeff Grindstiver.
And welcome to episode number 20 of Vinyl Bang.
20.
20.
Our episodes can almost buy beer now.
It's getting there. Jeff, what are we talking about today?
Today we are doing picture discs. We are this is a big one. This is one of the ones where we had made a pretty big list and had to whittle it down to where we didn't do a lengthy episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I believe you said there was a friend of yours who listens or watches our shows that suggested this topic, and pretty good idea actually. And
yeah,
you know, I'm sitting on quite a collection of picture discs, so there's some that I wish I could have included, but I had to leave out because I didn't. We didn't want to be greedy. We made it a pretty nice sized list here, so
agreed.
Not wasting any time here. You want to get started?
Yes, let's get started. I am going to start things off with a bang, with a vinyl bang, if you will. This one is one of the very first picture discs I ever owned. Not the first, I'll get to that in a little bit. But definitely one of the coolest ones I own is a single from Nirvana. This is the 12-inch picture disc single for Nirvana's In Bloom. This has 3 tracks. The first track on side A is the LP version of In Bloom. The B side is Sliver Live and Polly Live. And I believe we talked about this in the box set episode whenever I brought out the Nevermind box set. Whenever I was talking about this particular single, where I wasn't sure if Polly Live was acoustic or electric, the electric version, but I'm pretty sure it might be the electric version. But this is the back, and this is the front. This was released in 1992 in the UK.
Cool. Wow. So it's an OG.
This is an OG press. I don't know if this was ever repressed. I think like if you have this, you have it. I don't know if they've ever done a repress of this picture disc or not, but strictly limited 12-inch picture disc. It's definitely a cool piece of my collection.
Hell yeah,
for sure. Definitely proud to have this in the old collection.
And quite an awesome song, by the way. I think I've commented this to you quite a few times, but I love the way the drums sound on that song. So fucking full and heavy, and just and the music video is just it's wild.
The music video, like they did I forget where it was or where I saw it, but they did an entire version of the video where it was them trashing the stage and doing all that. And I mean, it synced up because like there was the one part where Kurt like gets hit in the balls and he goes up to the mic and he's like, "Don't know what it means." I mean, everything syncs up, but it's like just chaos and them destroying the stage and this and that. Fun fact, little side note: In Bloom is my daughter Sierra's ringtone.
Cool.
When she calls me, yeah. And I believe that was because this might have been a track on a Guitar Hero or something. Maybe whenever Guitar Hero first started out, but it's Sierra has always liked this song, and it's just as long as she's had a cell phone, this has always been her ringtone whenever she calls me. So whenever I hear In Bloom, I always think of my daughter.
It's a great song.
Yeah,
great album.
Absolutely. And for the longest time, I wouldn't let her sing every word because nature is a whore. I wouldn't let my 7-year-old daughter say the word whore. Now that she will be 23 in 2 days, I don't know if we've reached that point where she will sing every word or not. I don't know. We haven't gotten to that chapter of our life yet, but we'll see one of these days.
Right on.
All right, what you got, buddy?
All right, so my first one is by a band that proud to say I knew one of these guys. Unfortunately, he passed away, but by a Polish death metal band called Decapitated. I don't know if you can see. Should I take these out? This is Winds of Creation. This was their first album. Originally, it came out in 2000 on Earache Records, and then in 2022 they repressed it on 500 picture discs. This was their first album basically, and ooh, there they are. Where's Vitek? That's him right there. Yeah, rest in peace. He was he remembered me. Every time I saw him, he would get excited. We listened to Cypress Hill together. That's what he remembered me mostly for. And then their second album, which I would say is probably one of my top 5 death metal albums of all time, Nilty. This is a picture disc that this album originally came out in 2002 on Earache. Then they repressed it for the first time in 2021. This one's numbered actually. It's 161 out of 300. Picture these nice young fellas here on the back. This was the album that I feel like really set them off. Spears of Madness, Babylon's Pride, Symmetry at Zero, all these songs, man. Mother War, Nility. It's a banger from start to finish. Great album, but really cool picture disc that I owned. We could have talked about this one in the numbered vinyl episode, but we did mention that we were going to do a picture disc episode someday, and here we are. So that is why my first choice on here is Decapitated, Winds of Creation, and Nilty.
Very cool. Very cool. I grabbed Nihility whenever we were in Baltimore.
So since then, Earache has done I don't know how it seems like they're like crowdfunding things. Like you got to donate first, and then if it reaches its goal, then they'll press them. And I remember first one I actually got from them was The Haunted Made Me Do It. And for some reason I got 2 copies. So I traded one with Adam Jarvis. But they did Nilty and Winds of Creation and The Negation, which, were a lot of these were albums I just did not own for many years on vinyl. The original pressing of Nilty was hard. It's expensive and hard to get, but first they did the picture disc, and then they did on whatever vinyl, splatter, and then just regular colored vinyl. But I'm glad you got a copy of it too. It's a great album. It really is. Like the sound on it is so good. Like the thing that always blew me away was like he was like 18 years old when he was playing drums on that album, Vitek. It just never heard anything. He was so consistent, and just like the drum patterns in Spears of Madness were just mind blowing.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, even on Winds, I mean, it just his drumming is just phenomenal. Prodigy.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. I think he was 16 on Winds. So it's just so impressive. Like they were young kids from Poland, just
fucking killing it in the fucking death metal scene. Like the late '90s death metal was kind of fizzling, and then early 2000s, like I felt like all these great albums were coming up, and it was getting revived pretty hard. So
right. Yeah, I got to see them. I think I got to see them once with VTech on the Summer Slaughter tour in 2007.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw him.
6 or 7.
When I was in Canada with Misery Index, the first morning we woke up, we found out the news that he had passed. But I've got tons of great stories, from the Auto Bar to Casey's in Fredericksburg. Me and Chris from Abominog hung with him and the other guys, and a lot of Cypress Hill being played that night. A lot. And then they were with Christian that time, and it was a fun fucking night. But rest in peace, VTech. He was a great dude, really nice guy. I miss him. He was a very nice person and a great drummer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, Jeff.
All right.
What else?
Moving on. My next band that I'm going to feature a couple albums for is Origin.
Yes.
Origin. Some of my boys that I've grown pretty close with over the years. They did several albums on picture disc, so I'm gonna go ahead and showcase all of them. The first, of course, was the second album that they did through Relapse Records. This is Echoes of Decimation.
Yes.
Solid
My favorite
album.
one.
It's definitely up there. I mean, I always go back and forth with favorite Origin albums, but this is absolutely, like I said, whenever I mention it, Infinitas and Formus, Infinitas and Humanitas. Oh, I always hate trying to memorize it. Informus, Infinitas, and Humanitas. That's my favorite at a time, and then sometimes Entity is my favorite, and then sometimes Chaos is my favorite. But yeah, Echoes of Decimation. I mean, staring from the abyss, the burner, reciprocal, the burner.
Reciprocal. That's the one that's like those gravity blasts at the end of that song are just mind-boggling.
Ridiculous. But this is a picture disc limited to 1,000 copies, and I believe that's the case with the majority of these, or I don't remember exactly how limited each one of these were. The next picture disc that they did was Omnipresent. Several years after Echoes of Decimation, and this was released through Agonia Records. I forget what the pressing number of this was. I wasn't really prepared to do this episode. I did not do research, and I am sorry. But this is just more look at the pretty pictures more than it is, learn anything new, because you're not going to learn anything from me.
This episode's really going to suck for all of our friends who listen to this episode.
On my end, you just go ahead and look at birds or something while you're driving down the road, because you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to learn anything from Jeff today. Omnipresent is one that definitely does not get the attention it deserves. It's very underrated. All Things Dead, Thrall, Fulcrum, Apex, Manifest, Desolate, The Source of Icon Zero, Continuum, Unattainable Zero. It's a great album. A very, very solid album. This was the first to feature Jason Kaiser on vocals. Definitely a solid album. I'm not going to get real involved in trying to put all of these back exactly the way that I found them. So we're moving on to the next album, which is Unparalleled Universe. Unparalleled Universe was the first time that I was invited by the band to document the entire recording session for the album in the studio. I got to hang out with Origin for a month or a month and a half while they recorded this album, and it was such a surreal experience. Again, I know I've talked about this before about hanging out with Origin, documenting the entire process, but it was amazing. It was absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever done. I have a lot of memories of this album being recorded. I'm definitely grateful to the band for letting me be a part of this process. Amazing. The picture disc, all of these are just really, really clear quality. Everything looks great. Again, I don't listen to picture discs, so I can't comment on the sound quality of them, but maybe they sound good, maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't know how to comment on that, and I will not. But the final album from Origin is, of course, their newest their newest installment, Chaosmos. And this was really limited. I think this was like maybe 500, I believe. I can't remember. Like this was part of a care package I got from Agonia for doing, again, studio work with the band while they were recording this album. I didn't, this was one of the benefits of being part of the documentary process was they gave me records. And okay, yeah, I will definitely take free Origin records. Thank you very much, Agonia Records. But yeah, it's a great album. Again, a lot of memories with me or for me with this record. And yeah, great band, great group of guys, great albums. Origin.
Fuck yeah.
Real.
They need to get the rest of the discography on picture disc. I mean, shit.
They do. I mean, they're only missing like the self-titled and Informus. And
I'd love to own Echoes. I don't even own the picture disc. I mean, that like I said, is my favorite one. I remember buying that when it came out and then going to see them in Baltimore. And I think that was the only, maybe, I don't know. I saw them with James on drums, and he always commented every time I've seen him after that, it was a bad night because somebody, like his drum kit, he set it up in the streets and some guy fucking backed into it with his car and like bent one of his fucking.
Oh shit.
Wheels. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Your Trey was there. His other band, Severed Head, was playing that show. He always tells me that story. I was like, dude, that guy was such a sick drummer. That was great. That was a cool night seeing them. And I like I said, I just had so many great memories of that record.
Right.
It was a fun time. But yeah, that's cool stuff, man. Origin, great band. Still kicking it. Shout out to Paul Ryan.
Yeah, Paul and Mike and all of them. I love those guys. And they're just wrapping up a tour in they're overseas somewhere right now. Poland, I want to say. Yeah, they're still on the road. They're still touring, still banging it out every night. I'm anxious to see them again. I don't know. They don't have any dates in the States planned, but I'd love to see them again.
For sure.
So anyway.
All right. So my next one here is by a band. I don't know how many people know about this band. I saw them a couple years ago open for Ruby the Hatchet in a brewery in Baltimore. This is a band called Howling Giant, and it is a 7-inch picture disc lath cut of the cover song of the Blue Oyster Cult song Godzilla. You can see.
Oh, cool.
It comes out.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. When I saw them live, they played the song. They're kind of like a stoner rock, doomy at times, but it's just a fun live band. And I remember they started playing this song when I saw them live, and I was like, no way, they covered this song, and it was heavy as shit, and it sounded great. And I went home and I looked up their discography, and they had this, and I was like, fuck. So luckily they weren't sold out yet on the website, that the record label that put these out. Here we go. Came out in 2019 on Groove Family Records. It's an 8-inch lath, and I guess I don't have the info of how many of these were made. I thought I did, but I think there's like 75 or something weird like that. But yeah, pretty cool band that I caught live. I haven't really followed up with them. I know they put out a couple albums since then, and their vinyl always looks fucking awesome as shit.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't really own too much other stuff of theirs. That thing, and something I bought off Bandcamp a couple years ago. I can't remember what it was, but Howling Giant is the name of the band.
Howling Giant. I'm not familiar.
Yeah,
not familiar with that band. Ruby the Hatchet. I've talked about. You're a big fan of that band, right?
I wouldn't say I'm a big fan, but I'm a fan. I've seen them live a couple times. They're great. They're a great live band. Really good live band. Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Cool. Next up is a one album segment for me. This is the not the latest album from Carcass, the next to newest album. Yeah, Torn Arteries was the newest one, and then Surgical Steel. Carcass, Surgical Steel. This was a 2014 Decibel Tour exclusive, as shown, on the cover. I believe that I bought this probably from the band whenever I saw them in Chicago on April 5th of 2014 on this tour. Who else was on this tour? I can't remember. Again, very, very poorly planned.
Gorguts, Noisem. I can't remember. I was sick and I had to miss that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sure I've got a pass somewhere on the collection here.
Noisem was on it. I know Gorguts. Maybe Black Dahlia Murder.
Maybe. Sounds about right. Either way, this is a really cool picture disc. This is a great album. I think this is one of the 3 or 4 copies of this I have on vinyl. I bought it on cassette whenever at the show. I got the cassette signed by everybody in the band. I got Jeff Walker and Bill Steer and Dan Wilding and everybody to sign the cassette. So pretty cool little addition. But yeah, the picture disc is of course the iconic Tools of the Trade registering or reminiscent artwork from Tools of the Trade for Surgical Steel. But yeah, and I don't think this is numbered, or I don't remember how limited this thing was, but yeah.
Cool
Cool
shit.
little
Hell yeah. Carcass always has awesome artwork.
Yeah, love Carcass.
No matter what people think about their later work, I'm always a fan of it, and that looked awesome. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple. I bought 2 pressings of that when it came out, and then our friend Mr. Travis Ryan was asking people on the internet if anybody had a spare copy because he missed out on the pre-orders, and I sold him. I think it was the double LP red that I sold him.
Mm.
And I forgot to send him the poster. And he goes, "Really, dude? You didn't send me the poster?" And then I've told this story. I brought it to him on a Summer Slaughter. And then at the end of the tour, he somehow that poster got destroyed. And I was like, it was all worth it then.
Worked out well for everybody.
He was very upset with me.
Sure.
I should have just sent it to him in the first place. I forgot I had it. I took it out and I just laid it somewhere in my room and I forgot I had it. So, but yeah, that's a great album. I liked it.
Oh, me too. For sure. I saw that they did several tours, I believe, for Surgical Steel, and I saw them several times on the numerous tours that they did in the couple of years that they were touring for.
Me and James drove down to Richmond to see them with Exhumed and dude, I don't remember. But
I know that's definitely one of the passes I can see from here.
Might have been Obituary.
Carcass, Obituary, Macabre, Exhumed, and Noisem, I want to say. I think that's what it looks like from here. I don't know. My eyesight's going bad.
Oh
well. Anyway. Moving on. Right.
So I got a couple for this next particular one. It's a band that I've only mentioned once in all the times that I've talked about this. We've done episodes. A band called Portal from Australia. This is a Outre. I don't know how you'd pronounce it. Picture disc of that. And on the back, it's got them all. You can see the curator right there in the middle with his little witch hat on, which I don't think that's what that's supposed to be. Originally, this album came out in 2007. The repress of the picture disc had come out in 2012 on Hell's Headbangers. So shout out to them for that. The next one I have by Portal that is on a picture disc is the album Sepia. I don't know. These Australians and their slang. No. All right. This is very difficult to tell what this is. I think it's like the inside of the little thing there, but that's one side. That is the other. Just dark stuff. You can barely see what it is.
Yeah.
This album originally came out 2003. The picture disc came out in 2008 on Crush Until Madness Records. So, yeah, shout out to Crush Until Madness for putting this out, because I actually do own a test press of this album, I believe. But
Oh, wow.
not of that picture disc. I think of like a repress that maybe Hell's Headbanger put out. But and then this, I remember seeing this. You came running up to me and you said, "Hey, there's a picture disc inside a Portal." And we were at Maryland Death Fest, and I ran into the table and bought it. This is called Lurker at the Threshold. It's got
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
tentacles, and one side is 13 globes, the other side is Omnipotent Crawling Chaos. It's got a little hype sticker here, and it talks about them. One of the most memorable sets I caught at this year's Maryland Death Fest. So whoever put this out was, reviewing them from their set at Death Fest. But yeah, this came out in 2010. So yeah, they must have had that on the way while they were performing at Death Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever put that out. I don't have the record label. Oh wait. Chrome Leaf put this out.
Oh.
Chrome Leaf.
Chrome Leaf.
Never heard of anything else they've done, but
Neither have I.
We put out something by Portal, and I own it. I try to collect a lot of Portal stuff. I do have a lot of their stuff. I really do. It's a little wild, but I've got some very neat stuff. I got a box set that's it's got an Ouija board in it.
I remember that. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the band. Seen them several times throughout the years. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, that Ouija board set bundle was like pretty pricey, wasn't it?
It's like $100.
Yeah, so it was
it's like a record with an accessory, but
right.
I can't say that I haven't paid more for a single record with less stuff in it before. So.
No, and I'm the same way, but I'm not a big enough fan. Like, whenever I saw the thing, I'm like, oh, cool, Ouija board.
Yeah,
they
put out 2 albums within the span of like I think 3 months that year.
Oh, is that right?
So like one came out in May, and then no, I think it was 2 months. Like one was May and one was June, but the pre-orders went up pretty quickly, and then or maybe they were released in like August and September. But like that was a 2021 deal. They had 2 albums that came out, and people were speculating maybe they were supposed to, if you play them together, they'll sync, and they were like, no. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
James tells me he's on some like message board or somewhere where they respond often to questions from fans. So I met the curator at Death Fest the last time they played. He was actually taking his costume off, and I got him to put it back on and pose for a picture. So
I remember that. Yeah,
shout out to him if he listens or watches this show. I love Portal. They're a very unique band. I've never heard anything like that before, and I try to collect the weird stuff that most people probably don't own or don't care about. So it's a little easier for me to get, but the OG pressings of a lot of their stuff are pricey. They are, and most of them are like in Australia, because I don't know if stuff like that just doesn't get distributed across the world unless somebody sells it,
Right.
So.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Cool additions. All right. So up next is a band that has been mentioned a lot on the show. The vocalist for this band is the brainchild of why Nick and I sit in front of cameras and talk about our records. Pig Destroyer. Pig Destroyer is Prowler in the Yard. Prowler in the Yard. This was released by Reptilian Records and Relapse, and I'm not sure. There's a film on this thing. I don't know what this is. I don't know why there's I don't know if I got a bunk copy off somebody or if it's just collected moisture or something throughout the years, but it's got a I guess definitely not getting played. If I ever did listen to Picture Disc, this one would definitely not go on the turntable. But yeah, this is a really, really cool copy. It's cool to have the complete collection of every pressing of Prowler in the Yard, and which I do, except for test presses, except for like I think the original test press. I might have the remastered test press. I can't remember. But yeah, the inlay here tells the story from the book, from the CD, the album itself, about how he's parked in the I am parked at the elementary school across from her house, listening to the rain pound against the roof of the car. You know, the whole story about waiting for Jennifer, and the whole, you know, cutting fingers off, and the whole story. It's got the thank yous on the back, where it was recorded, mastered, and all that. And yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to have. Like I said, it's not getting any love on the turntable. It probably never will, especially now that it's got shit all over it. And I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I should probably get a cleaning unit and, you know, run this through it for sure, because that's kind of yeesh. This is the last picture disc they did, right? They never did a picture disc for another album.
Painter of Dead Girls?
It was before this.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a compilation that came out after that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it came out after 38 Counts.
Mm-hmm.
That was before this.
There wasn't one of Terrifier?
I don't think so. I'm almost positive. I'm not almost 100%
really
guaranteed.
Cool if you did a Phantom Limb one, because I'm a big John Dyer Baisley fan.
I'd love to have one of Phantom Limb, dude. Yeah, that would be sick. I saw the original painting for that whenever we were in New York a couple years back. Baisley had a whole thing going on, a whole gallery, and I saw the original picture, and he was selling all of his stuff, and that thing went for like, I want to say $2,000 or something, and I got there late. I wouldn't have bought the thing anyway, but I was just like, man, I'd love to have that, the original painting from Phantom Limb. But pretty cool to see anyway. But
hell yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to J.R. Hayes. Again, shout out to the guys from Pig Destroyer, Scott Hall, and all them guys. Good people.
Fuck yeah. Awesome people.
All right.
What do I got next? Ooh, another one of my top 5 death metal albums. This is by a band from upstate New York. What is it, Albany, where they're from? I don't know. This is Skinless, Foreshadowing Our Demise. This is one of those like elite records that Relapse put out in the early 2000s, right? When did this come out? 2001, this album came out. But Morbid Records put this out on Picture Disc. It's just been licensed from Relapse Records. Backside just got the track listing, really. Here we go. Foreshadowing Our Demise, Smothered, The Optimist, Salvage What's Left, Tug of War, Intestines, Affirmation of Hatred, Enslavement, Merrill Melanies, and Pool of Stool. This was a pretty cool record. Every song's got like a sample intro track. I think The Optimist might be their most famous song because it's got a very famous sample of Vince McMahon going, "Life sucks and then you die." And then it just kicks into their heavy ass fucking music. I really like this band a lot. These guys have always been really nice to me over the years whenever they played in Springfield, Virginia at Jack's, or in Baltimore at a Maryland Death Fest. Their bassist, Joe Kaiser, brother of Jason Kaiser, is a fun fucking dude. And I guess they've recently reunited a few years back with Sherwood as their vocalist. And I believe he's the one who puts on that fest in Denver all the time. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, Skinless, great band. Noah Carpenter on guitars. They've had a bunch of different drummers over the years. I think Bob and I'm forgetting this guy's name. Joe, I think his name is. No. Oh, young dude who I've seen a couple times when I've gone out with Fetus, but this is a cool fucking album. If you've never heard it, Skinless Foreshadowing Our Demise. Like I said, it's one of those elite albums that Relapse was putting out in the early 2000s. They were certainly on a roll with a lot of the death metal that they were releasing, and that album is, I think, a staple in Relapse's collection of death metal albums.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good album. I'm not as familiar with that as I am. Is it Trampling the Dead?
Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead.
Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead. Yeah. That one. That's probably my favorite. But I don't know why. I don't know if that was just the first one I heard, and that was just kind of the one that, you know.
That's got a sample from the movie Hot Shots Part 2.
War. It's fantastic.
I love that band. They've always, and I think that's the one that Jason is on. Yeah, Jason.
The Kaiser's on that. I believe so.
And then they do a Black Sabbath cover at the end, of Wicked World.
Sounds about right.
That's a cool record. I'm a big
fan of Skinless.
Skinless rules. They make great death metal, but they also use a lot of those silly samples that you know, especially on Progression Towards Evil. There's a song called Tampon Lollipops, and the intro to that, I'm not going to repeat it, but if you're interested, go look that song up. It's got a very, very fucking funny intro. Whatever sample, whatever movie they found that from, good for them, because that had me laughing so hard. But all right.
Oh yeah. All right. My next segment is going to take a minute. There are we really try to not mention this band in any more of our episodes because we feel like we've given them enough notoriety. They have gained a lot of fans because of us, and whatever. The next band is Cattle Decapitation. I'm going to start off with Human Jerky. Human Jerky I was going to feature in the last episode because it is in fact a numbered pressing, and so I figured, no, I'll just wait for the picture disc episode and do all these picture discs at once. This is numbered out of 1,500. I have number 381. 381 out of 1,500. An OG press, of course. You know, like they never repressed the picture discs. Up next is an album that I discussed in the very first episode of Vinyl Bang. This is the picture disc for Karma Bloody Karma. This also is numbered, but this was the very first metal record I ever owned. My wife bought for me whenever we got together 19 years ago.
Oh, and hold up that picture. Hold up that young picture of them on the back. Who's that guy in the camouflage jacket there?
Right? His cute little whiskers. Look at him. He's got
oh my gosh.
Little soul patch, dude. Look fucking He's so cute.
Look at those guys. Holy shit.
Right. But yeah, this is numbered 454 out of 500.
Fuck yeah, Jeff. That's awesome.
And yeah, again, you know, one of the coolest records I own still to this day because of the embossed artwork and everything, the way the
cool packaging.
The packaging is laid out for sure.
Fuck yeah.
The next record, the next album that I'm going to feature on the picture disc is The Harvest Floor. This I got autographed by the band after it was released in 2010. I saw the band in St. Louis, and I got all of them to sign my copy of the album. Troy was not with the band at the time, but I have all of their signatures on this. It says, "Thank you for the support, Jeff." And where Travis's signature is, he says, "I love you more than life, and you're my favorite person ever." It's somewhere up in here. It's like you can't see it, but he's like, "I love you the most." And yeah, it's a fun record. For the longest time, this was the only copy that there was available on vinyl until like, I don't know, 2015 or 16, whenever they started doing the actual vinyl presses of it. That wasn't picture disc, but yeah. Up next is the album that I've talked about more from them throughout the years because I have so many copies of it. I'm going to go ahead and show that I have 2 copies of the exact same pressing for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know why I own 2 copies of this. And Melanie is very proud of the fact that I have more copies than I need, and I don't even know why I have them. This is a fun conversation between my wife and I that she really enjoys this. But yeah, this is both the same copy, both picture discs. I think maybe it might be because I could take one of them out and put them side by side and it would make up the entire cover, but I don't know. So if anybody wants to buy one of these, if they're really rare, you know, we'll negotiate whenever this goes live. And if you want to buy a copy from me, we'll talk. I'm sure my wife would like that as well. And I have another copy of this album that came out on the European tour. I'm telling you, dude, like, it's stupid how many copies of this I have. But this one came with a patch that needs to like go on a Boy Scout sash. It says "Fuck this world we live in, and fuck its ugly inhabitants." It's not very nice. It's not very appropriate. You don't want to put this patch on your vest and then go to church or Kroger or to get groceries or whatever. It's not very nice. This is European tour edition. There was a limited out of 100. I have number 88 out of 100. It even says includes free patch that you can never wear in front of anybody or show anybody because it's very offensive and people will throw stuff at you if they see you. So yeah, this is one of the 74 copies of the Anthropocene Extinction that I own, and there you go. Cattle decapitation picture discs. Why I have so many, I don't know.
I'm glad you broke out that Karma Bloody Karma one. I forgot about all the cool layout stuff in it. That's a really neat record.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can go back and really showcase more of that, especially since I haven't put it up. But I mean, like, yeah, just the embossment of it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like,
that's great.
So badass. I absolutely love this press.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
So this next one I am going to feature is a band that I fucking love. I mean, they don't come around as often. They put out a couple albums in the last 10 years. I think they're putting out something new soon. But it is Nails. I Don't Want to Know You. That's the name. That's literally the name of this track. Trying to find it. This is limited to 2,000 copies on Nuclear Blast Records. It's a 7-inch. During the time that this was written, recorded, and put out, our good friend Leon was in the band. Shout out to Mr. Leon.
Shout out Leon de Muerte.
Yeah. Good friend of the show. Good friend of me and Jeff's. I don't know if he listens to our show or not, but at the time he was in this, and that, I was stoked. I've seen him live with Leon a couple times. Since then, I think I've only seen him with like maybe Ghoul or Impaled. He did vocals for Impaled a couple years ago, Death Fest. But yeah, this came out in 2019 on Nuclear Blast. It's a neat little 7-inch. Like I said, I really wanted to feature it mostly because our pal Leon is on this album, and anything Leon does fucking rules. He's one of the greatest dudes we know, and
agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, you caught me working. Yeah, Leon, dude. Fucking love Leon. He's a great guy.
Shout out to Leon.
I got to see him perform with Nails at one point. They were doing a show in Chicago, and my daughter and I drove out to Chicago and got to see them play at Kuma's Corner in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them at we saw them at 930 Club. It was on Blake's birthday, actually. And they gave him a shout out from the stage. But yeah, nice. Awesome fucking band. And like I said, at that point, Leon was there, so that meant even more to me that he was on that record.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Great guy.
All right.
Great guy. All right. Moving on. My next album is one of my favorite slam albums from one of my favorite slam bands. This is Unleash the Carnivore by Devourment. This was released by Brutal Bands Records in whatever year this came out.
That looks so fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, it's an awesome pressing. And you can't really see it's autographed by the band.
Silver Sharpie.
Yeah, Silver Sharpie, which wasn't real well thought out, but yeah, some of the stuff is kind of offensive, so I'm not going to go into real good involvement of what it says, but I'm kind of glad that you probably can't see what it says because it's probably not for the best. But this is limited to 1,000. I have number 529 of 1,000. Of course, you can't see. There you go.
Yeah.
529 of 1,000. Really cool artwork. This was one of the very first things that I ordered. I pre-ordered this album from Brutal Bands, and I remember it like very well. Like I pre-ordered a hoodie and a shirt and a beanie and a pup tent and all this shit. I ordered like the entire package, and it arrived like 3 days later. I was just like, oh my god! Like Brutal Bands are amazing. And now, like the last transaction I had with Brutal Bands, I still don't think I've gotten the package from them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't remember what the package. Like I ordered something I was really looking forward to from Brutal Bands, and they just kind of.
That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. And I like I said, I don't remember what it was, and it's obviously not important enough for me to remember to hold a grudge what it was. But yeah, the second or third transaction I had from them was not pleasant. Shitty. But yeah, at one point they were awesome and on their game, and blah blah blah. But I love that album. I love Unleash the Carnivore. It's a great, probably my favorite Devourment album.
Yeah.
Saw them on that tour with Fetus.
Cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Cannibal Corpse.
Was it Cannibal Corpse?
Fetus and Cannibal Corpse are one tour. Another tour with Cattle, Devourment, and I don't remember who else. Some band who didn't show up the first day of the tour, and they paid for it pretty badly from a tour video that Cattle put out years ago.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I don't remember what band it was.
The tour that I saw was Fetus and Devourment because I filmed Eric Park and Trey Williams the same night.
I saw them with at the Rock and Roll Hotel in DC, which is a small shithole. Thank God it's gone. With Cannibal Corpse liner.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think Cannibal Corpse was at the show I was referring to, but yeah, I do distinctly remember filming Eric Park and Trey Williams the same night. So
cool.
Anyway,
this next one I am going to talk about is by a black metal band, and it is generally it's one person who does all this. Her name is Holder. This is a picture disc called Embraced by Darkness Mists ... This was put out in 2020 on Gems. Gems is the name of the record label, and it is actually hand numbered 31 out of 50, and it is a little square cut.
Also a lath cut
Square, yeah, of Holder out in the woods holding her sword.
Cool.
But yeah, this is it's out of 50 copies. I got number 31. Yeah, I try to own everything that she's put out. I don't need to own every pressing of everything, but I do want to get at least one of everything. She's put out a live album from the show that I saw her at in Baltimore a couple years ago, and I have it's on cassette a couple times on different color cards, and she put it out on a CD. I'm hoping at some point she'll put it out on vinyl. But I met her after that show. She was real nice. Posed for a picture and signed my copy of the one album I had of hers. But now I got quite a few of them in there. But pretty cool picture disc that I had of hers. This is the back of the card. There's only 2 tracks on here, but Holder, she fucking rules. Unfortunately, I got sick and had to miss out on her when she played Hell in the Harbor, and I think she did the Decibel tour, and I had to work that night. It sucks. I'd love to catch her again live. She's quite an amazing artist. She wrote and performed all this stuff on the albums, and then she's obviously got a live band. She's not a one-person band like one of those clowns in the circus, but she absolutely, they kill it live when she performs. Her live bands have always been pretty good from what I've seen in videos. The night that I saw her, they fucking killed it at Metro Gallery, nonetheless, small place. So shout out to Holder. I think she told me her name. I don't know. I don't remember what she told me her name was that night, but she's a great lady. Awesome band, awesome fucking music, awesome American black metal, or think she's from somewhere in Europe. I'm giving a bunch of misinformation again.
As usual. That's what we're known for on Vinyl Bang, is not having our shit together and giving false information.
Austria.
Yeah, I've heard you talk a lot about this artist, and I just never. I'm not a black metal fan, so I kind of oh cool, you know.
James keeps me up to date with what's cool in black metal. He's always sending me stuff, and I remember him sending me that one day, and I was just so blown away at how good it was. And yeah, we went and saw her live, and the rest is history.
Oh yeah, very cool. Shout out to James.
Shout out to James.
Lindsay Jr. That guy.
That guy.
That guy. All right, up next is one that I've had for a long time. Definitely one of my favorite albums from these guys. This is Lamb of God, As the Palaces Burn. As the Palaces Burn. Throughout the years, I tried to take the cardboard separators that you get in packages and repurpose them and put them behind the picture disc, that way there's something to kind of hold them together. And this is, this has got one of those. This particular pressing, like I was going to do it on the numbered episode, and Nick pointed out to me that he said, well, it may be listed as numbered, but it actually is not numbered. So this is the sleeve, I guess, that came with the vinyl, and this is what was supposed to be numbered. It isn't numbered, but it's out of 2000, and which number did I get? Who knows? I don't know, because it doesn't say. There's nothing.
I think you got number 1, Jeff.
Number 1. I am number 1. That's awesome. Thanks, Lamb of God.
Black Market Activities put that out. Shout out to Guy Kozowick.
Yeah, Guy, dude. I forgot all about that too. The Black Market did put this out.
Yep.
Very cool.
Very cool. Them putting that out funded quite a few albums for Black Market Activities. But
I'm sure.
I remember buying a copy of that, and yeah, it's a great fucking looking disc. Yes,
it is. It is absolutely
awesome fucking album too,
Chris. And I love this album. I mean, this has my absolute favorite Lamb of God song, Blood Junkie.
Blood Junkie.
Absolutely.
That song, Mutant Scraper, is a good one too.
Blood Junkie. Oh, it's such a good song. It's my absolute favorite Lamb of God song ever. Yeah, it's a great album. Produced by Devin Townsend, right?
Yes. Yep.
And Devin Townsend, what is it? I didn't notice this until I was looking up the picture disc. But the CD, everything is this particular track is called "A Devil in God's Country," but on this it's called "A Devi."
I do remember that.
In God's Country, because Devi is the of course nickname for Devin Townsend. But I thought that was kind of cool. I never knew that or noticed that about this. I'm going to put this up later after whenever you're on screen. But yeah, this is a great picture disc. I think this is the only copy I own. No, I own a regular pressing on vinyl. Had to have it because it's a great record, and I wanted to hear it on vinyl. But yeah.
They remastered and re-released it a couple years ago.
It was like a 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary.
I don't know if it's been out that long. It came out in like 2002.
Maybe. Yeah, 2002.
All right. Speaking of, no, this didn't come out in 2002. I thought this was an album in 2002. Would have been a good segue. This next one is by a really cool band from Philadelphia that I became great friends with. A Life Once Lost, a great artist. This came out in 2004 on Death Wish. There are 1,500 copies of this. With the knives, let's see here. Surreal Atrocities, Cavil. The change came suddenly. Nevermore will I have understand in anything under the sun. Malden, Pious, the wicked will rot and overwhelming. this band got a lot of slack when this album came out because a lot of people were accusing them of ripping off Meshuggah, and it was so hypocritical because in the next couple of years, literally every deathcore metalcore band out there started to rip off Meshuggah. This was a groundbreaking album, I thought, because they didn't sound like this before this album came out, and they went in that direction, and it sounded great. You know, people just wanted to hate because they didn't think it was original, but I love this album a lot. I used to kick it with these guys every time they came to town. First time I ever saw Cephalic Carnage was with these guys. They introduced me to them, and the rest is history there. But A Life Once Lost, really, really underrated metalcore band from the 2000s. They eventually signed to Ferret Records, and they put out, man, I don't remember what the follow-up to this was, but I remember there was a track with Randy Blythe on it, and they did a festival in Virginia, in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Randy drove out and did his vocals with them that night. And yeah, Life Once Lost, a great artist, really underrated album. It's one of those like groove metal albums that just makes you bob your head and just, it was good shit. I love this band. I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Bob, Doug, Justin, Bobby C. I can't remember all of them. Shout out to all those guys. They were great people to me always. I think Doug is the only one who's still active in the band. Maybe he's in some band on Relapse, I thought, but or Justin and Bobby C started in a band, but I can't remember what they were called. But I'm sorry, guys.
Their drummer.
If you listen to this and
right.
all that info about you, but yeah.
Their drummer was really cool to me. Like, I wasn't even filming for Sick Drummer yet, and there was a couple times whenever like he'd get me into shows, and you know I do drum cams for him. Can't remember his name either.
Justin Graves.
Justin Graves.
Yeah,
right.
He rules.
Right.
He was one person that always, no matter what the show or tour they were on, he always got me in for free. Always got me backstage. Like he was awesome. Like I said, nothing but respect for A Life Once Lost. Those guys were great dudes.
Yeah, I saw them a couple times. I want to say I saw them. I know definitely I saw them with Genghis Tron and Tony Danza.
Oh yeah,
saw him with Tony Danza, and I definitely saw him with Dillinger too. But I saw him another time, and I can't remember who it was with. But yeah, the very first time, I think the only time I've ever seen Genghis Tron live was with A Life Once Lost at the Blue Note in Columbia. It was like pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Alrighty.
But yeah, all right. So the next band has there's a few albums and singles and stuff that I'm going to talk about. So we're going to go next with Mastodon.
Yeah.
While I was digging through my collection to see what I had, I found this copy of Atlanta, which was a non-album track that features Gibby Haynes of the Butthole Surfers that I got on Record Store Day in a long time ago. I don't remember the year it came out. I did not do research for this episode. But yeah, this is a really cool album, or really cool pressing. The artwork is awesome. There's a instrumental no vocal track on the back. I believe I heard this around the time that it came out, but I haven't listened to the song in forever. So like I need to go back and revisit this because I actually forgot about it. But pretty cool for them to have Gibby Haynes. Gibby Haynes did the vocals for Jesus Built My Hot Rod for Ministry back in the early 90s, and you know, of course, as I say, is a vocalist for Butthole Surfers, and pretty cool vocalist. The next thing for Mastodon is the single for the Motherlode and Halloween, taken from the album Once More Around the Sun. The artwork is very, very identical to Once More Around the Sun, but this is not the actual album. This is actually just what it says here, the Motherlode, and then you kind of see it there, Halloween. But yeah, this is a single. This is a Record Store Day exclusive. Again, from the year 2000, the year 1985. I don't know when the fuck this came out. I have no idea. But yeah, pretty cool artwork for both of those. The next album is Crack the Sky, which I was not a fan of the first time I heard it. They were going from whenever I started listening to Mastodon, it was whenever they had just released Remission. They had just released Remission. They were opening for Clutch, and it was like that was the Mastodon that I grew up with. Was the indistinguishable vocals and the heavy chugging riffs, and everything was just everything was that Mastodon was what I was accustomed to and what I first heard. And then whenever they started doing the more melodic, ballads or whatever they were, and whenever they were doing the clean vocals, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not. No, I can't do this. This is not Mastodon to me, and it was not fair. It was not fair. I went back years later and listened to this album again with a different set of ears, and I love Crack the Sky. It was just so good. Such a good album. The artwork is phenomenal. I do not own this on a regular pressing, which is a shame because I would love to hear this on vinyl. And I think I will look into that relatively soon. Whenever I go back to work and start bringing home paychecks again and start buying records I don't need, I'm going to buy Crack the Sky. I'll listen to it on vinyl because it's awesome. And last, definitely not going in order, Blood Mountain. Blood Mountain is such a good record. Such a good album. Been a fan of this since the day it came out. I don't know how limited either one of these pressings are, but yeah, the artwork is amazing. Whenever Blood Mountain, or before Blood Mountain came out, they were this record store in Columbia, Streetside Records. They had this table where they would have like flyers and pamphlets or whatever, stickers from bands or whatever, and they had a Blood Mountain survival guide as like a promotional thing for the album. And I got two of them. I got two of these survival guides, and I have them in a frame in my bedroom where it's got the front side is, it's like the different tracks and how it's like it's an actual survival guide of how to survive Blood Mountain. Backside it's got both sides of the survival guide in the frame. But yeah, it's pretty cool little album from Mastodon. I mean, The Wolf is Loose, Crystal Skull, Sleeping Giant, Blade Catcher. Dude, Blade Catcher is just so different.
Mm-hmm.
So just awesome. Colony of Birchmen, This Mortal Soil. I mean, just it's a phenomenal album. This is absolutely one of my favorite albums from Mastodon. Has been from the first time I heard it, and will continue to be for a long time. Great album.
Josh Homme is on that album.
Agree. Yeah.
Colony of Birchmen.
I forgot about that.
And so is Cedric from Mars Volta. He's on Siberian Kiss, I believe. That's a great record. I remember people being pissed off when that one came out because that's when people were saying they think they're getting soft. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This album is incredible.
Yeah. No, the vocals were definitely changing. I mean, they were taking a different approach to it, but it was still massive.
Yeah. Oh man, the music. To comment on Crack the Sky, I remember getting that like 3 months before it came out. I had a hookup somehow, and I remember listening to that for like the next like 5 or 6 months. I was so I knew it was slower, I knew it was different, but I was just so hooked on that record. I'm in a Mastodon group on Facebook, and I know a lot of people that was voted their best album by the fans. They think just the sound wise and production and everything, it's their best musically, it's their best record. Then you got the OGs that'll say, no, Leviathan or Blood Mountain or Remission, whatever. It's up to you. It's your pick. It's your opinion. But different I remember that record coming out and just being like, man, like it's so different from what they did before, and it just sounds incredible. And their live shows were the production of the live shows picked up big time after that album came out. I remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah,
it's good stuff, man. Mastodon's an awesome band.
They did 2 or 3 tours where they were touring Crack the Sky, where they were playing it in its entirety.
Yep. I saw them on Halloween night that year with Death Clock, Converge, and High on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw them in 420 the next year in 2010. In 420 is when I first met Loopy with Baroness, Between the Buried and Me, and Valiant Thor.
Valiant Thor. I forgot about them. But yeah, that Between the Buried and Me and Baroness show, like I mean, I initially went for Between the Buried Me because I just love Between the Buried Me and Baroness. Like, I wasn't real familiar with them at the time, and they stole the show. They absolutely stole the show that night. And like, so, I saw the Crack the Sky set before, and it was just like, I gave it another shot, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I can't do it. But that was a great tour. I did not meet Loopy that night.
I was the first time I met him. John Dyer Baisley introduced me to him. He was like TMing for them or something. So that's when I was starting to get the hookup on the passes.
Right.
So,
yeah.
All righty. So,
All right.
My next one. This, I wish I had owned this on regular vinyl, but it's still cool to have it on picture disc vinyl. This is actually the very first Ozzy Osbourne album I had ever heard. When I became a metalhead, I started, listening to more metal and whatnot. This was the album that Ozzy had just put out. No More Tears. This is a killer fucking record, man. Mr. Tinkerton, I Don't Want to Change the World. Mama, I'm Coming Home. Desire, No More Tears, Sin, Hellraiser, Time After Time, Zombie Stomp, ABH, Road to Nowhere. I believe Mr. Lemmy Kilmister wrote and performed bass on some of these songs as well. It's credited to being Zakk Wylde, Randy Castillo, Bob Daisy, John Sinclair, and Mike Inez. Mike Inez is now in Alice in Chains. Was on this record. Yeah, they had a couple bass players on this album. But yeah, that's Mike in his picture with them. This was a cool record. I remember as a kid getting it and just being in love with it. Like Ozzy was like, the king of metal. And like I said, I wish I do have this on regular vinyl so I could actually spin it sometimes. But it was a Record Store Day release in 2021. This album originally came out in 1990. Motherfucking Ozzy Osbourne, people. What more can I say?
Right. Yep. That's a good album. That's that Hellraiser track. I believe that Lemmy wrote that. I don't know. I mean, I remember Lemmy being on the track, but
I think that's one of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Road to Nowhere is a good song. It's a good album. I really need to fucking give that a shot again. I need to listen to No More Tears because it's a good one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All
right. My last album for this episode is one of my favorite bands of all time, the Violent Femmes. This is their debut episode. Their debut episode. Come on, Jeff. What are you doing? Their debut album came out in 1983. This was a Record Store Day release last year. It was the first time available as a picture disc. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but first time available as a picture disc. It's got limited to 6,000 worldwide. It's not numbered or anything, but just this is the third or fourth copy of this album that I have, and had to have it on picture disc. It was one of the main reasons why I participated in Record Store Day one of the 2 Record Store Days last year. But yeah, I get to see this band again for the 4th time next week. Next week, I am going to Indianapolis, Indiana, to see them perform their first 2 albums in its entirety. They're going to play Hallowed Ground from beginning to end, and then play this album from beginning to end, and then a couple of encore tracks. And I am excited. I'm damn excited to see them perform this in its entirety, just from beginning to end. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great show.
Hell yeah, man.
It's an iconic album. I love this album so much.
I did not know you had that on picture disc. I really was wondering which one you were going to break out, but that's cool as shit.
Debut album.
Debut.
So,
all right. It's the last one I got. I got a couple here, and I'm going to try to rapid fire through some of these because there's a bunch in here. This is from the band Baroness, and there's quite a few of them in here. The Red album back in 2020, Relapse Records re-released all of their albums that were put out on Relapse on picture disc. So I'll start here with the Red album because it is a double LP. So this is side A, side B. That's side B. Ooh. Really cool stuff here. And then side D is the little patterns with the skulls.
Oh, those are awesome.
This is the red. Next one was the blue record. Let's see here. All right, I think this is A. A, B. This might be C, and then D. Fuck, man, this is gonna be hell to put back. Like I said, I'm trying to rapid fire through all these, and then this would be the final one that they had put out on Relapse. This is yellow and green. This album just that's what it's like. So here we go. All right, this is side A, which is done by John Dyer Baisley, singer, guitarist, and artist for Baroness. Side B, I believe this is Paul Romano, who's famously known for doing all the Mastodon stuff. Side C and side D. This is definitely looks like Paul Romano work.
Right on.
But oh my gosh, please don't spill over. I don't like to lift these up. All right, these last four are from the Purple album. I don't know if I can do this correctly without. No, I'm not going to be able to. But like, they put out all these picture discs and sets of four. So, all right, I'll try to read these out when I go. Here we go. All right, this first one is "Try to Disappear." That's the cover. That is the picture disc. Back is just Baroness logo. Oh my god, all my stuff is falling. These ones came out in 2015 on Abraxas Hymns, which is I guess John's label, because everything that Baroness has put out since then has been on their own. This next one is Chlorine and Wine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cool.
There's that. John's same. I think the backside is all the same. It's just we'll tell you the song on the back there. Oh, come on. It's always when you're in a rush, it's so difficult to put these things back.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Next one, Morning Star. Again, when you put all these covers together, it forms like the actual cover of the Purple album or Purple record. I don't believe these are all John's art on the front. The backside, same thing. Morning Star. Give me a second here, and I'll tell you the gentleman's name who did this art, because well, they don't even tell you on here. I forgot the guy's name. I followed him on Instagram. It's like it begins with an M. And then the last one. There you go. Boom. Well,
That's very cool.
Shock Me is the name of this song. Same again on the back. Just got the song title on the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it's like Morid or I wonder if it's in this case at all. Give me a second. Let me see if they. No,
I'm trying to look it up. I'm just looking at the "Try to Disappear" single, and it doesn't say who the
artwork is. Yeah, I apologize to this gentleman. I follow him on Instagram. He's wait, did I put this in the wrong sleeve? I don't even know what I'm doing right here. This one is Shock Me. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna put these down because I'm wasting time just looking. But yeah, They Baroness was notorious for putting out picture disc and yeah, I have all the Relapse stuff and the Purple singles on picture disc. I believe Purple is on picture disc too. I don't think I own that, but
I know.
But yeah,
I liked Purple. That was a good album.
I did too.
That was a good album. I wasn't crazy about the yellow and green or
Golden
green
Gray.
and yellow, golden gray. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that album, but Purple was really good.
Yeah, man.
Good album.
All right. Before we end this episode, I went record store shopping today and I found a little 45 I'm going to share with us real quick. It is a Beastie Boys. It's a promo of Alive.
Oh, wow. Oh,
40.
cool.
It says right over there, promotional use only. On the back side is Big Shot. I don't know if you can see that.
Big Shot.
Big Shot. It is a Billy Joel cover and it's live. And right before we went on the air, I was watching a Beastie Boys live show from somewhere in Europe. They played some festival and they opened up with that song. So I'm wondering if this is where that's from. But yeah,
Cool.
I found it in the 7-inch bin. It's only $4.99. It's must have been in like a jukebox or something because it says for promotional use only. But yeah, I went record store shopping with our pal Cha and found that today. So
Well, that's awesome.
hell yeah, man.
Very cool.
But yeah, fun episode today, Jeff. We got a lot accomplished in looked like a long time, but we kind of rifled through a lot of these, right?
We did. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
I know I have more, and I'm sure you do too. But it's that I figured like we don't want to take up 2 hours of everybody's time each week. That I know that I could probably have done a little bit more, but like I said, like these were the 9 I went with. I'm glad you pulled out that Karma, Bloody Karma again because I love looking at that record. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's like whenever you hit me up and you're like, if do you mind if I do all these Baroness? And I'm like, no, I don't care. I'll just do all these Origins. But we'll have 9 bands, but we'll end up having like 74 albums, and that's probably why I didn't do a whole lot of research on them because we'd be here for 5 hours.
Yeah, the best I try to do is let you know what year it came out and what label it's on. I don't need unless there's some super neat factoid there that you need to know about.
Yeah, just here. Look at this.
This was actually pressed by James Hetfield himself.
That's how James Hetfield. Who is that? Yeah, this is not for the. This episode probably is not for the audio listeners.
Sorry, guys. This was visual mostly because this was a cool episode. We saw some really neat stuff. Like I said, the Devourment one I love. Some of those Origin ones I didn't realize how detailed those look too. So I'm stoked we did this.
Yeah, me too. I wish that our audio listeners could see your new haircut. I'm here all week, folks. I'm here all week.
All right.
Yeah, this was a really fun episode. I'm glad I got to dig through some of these, and some of them I forgot. Like I said, the Mastodons, I forgot I fucking had them. This was cool, But anyway,
thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for tuning in or watching, and we will see you all next week.
Hell yeah! See you guys.